All right.
What's up,
Are we
guys?
live?
Yeah, we're live.
How's it going, everybody? Sorry, we got rid of the countdown. So welcome. It is Thursday. It is 1 p.m. Eastern, and that means it is time for wedding film reviews here on Wedding Film School. And I'm joined today by Jay. Jay, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good, man. I'm gonna show everybody just a shame thing. So we did a BTS of a really awesome, just styled shoot on Monday, and I got really badly sunburned, and I was wearing a microphone.
I was gonna say, you might be looking a little red.
Yeah. I was wearing a microphone all day, and so he was like kind of pulling my shirt down, and so.
I love it.
I got a love sunburn.
That's like that's commitment. That's dedication. That's how you know you're a true wedding filmmaker.
A true wedding filmmaker, YouTuber.
I love it. I love it. Very cool. Well, so if you have not joined us before, I'm going to give you a little rundown of how we do this. But of course, I'm sure most of you have been here before. So these are films that are submitted by you guys, our community, here on YouTube, over on Facebook, etc., etc. And we compile these throughout the week, and we are changing things up this week. We've alluded to this a couple times. We've given you a heads up, but we are making the change this week. And the way that's going to look, still similar in a lot of ways, but you're going to get an added benefit if you are a member of the channel. And that is going to be, things will stay the same for you. We'll review your full film, up to 5 minutes of it at least, which is what we always do. And if you are not a member, we are going to review up to 2 minutes of your film. So the idea behind this, guys, is to still give our members a little bit more added benefit, but to be able to get through more films each stream, ideally. And then after we watch them, we are going to share a couple things that we love, that we think you did really well, that we think you should lean into as a filmmaker.
We're going to clear the deck.
A couple things where we think, you could improve. Especially for your next wedding film, and always kind of approaching it from that perspective. I will drop the link on where to submit your films if you're interested in getting your film reviewed. But before we dive into films today, Jay, you got a chance to get hands-on with that new Panasonic camera, right?
Yeah, so if you don't know, S5IIX came out a couple months ago. And it was like Panasonic's or LUMIX is first, I guess same thing, but they call it LUMIX, and that's what's on the camera. So LUMIX is first like venturing into the phase detect autofocus, which was a big deal breaker for a lot of wedding filmmakers. Had a lot of cool features people really wanted. But then this camera is the X version, and as you can see, you literally can't see anything about it, because it's all blacked out. And if you saw our video, I did a very metal intro to it, because this camera looks so metal. But it's a bunch of cool features. So if you got any questions about the camera in chat, I'm happy to talk to you about it. It's not out yet. It will be out, but I am really predicting, Bobby, that, and also, I shoot on the H2S a lot. Everybody's always talking about A7S III, even A7 IV, R6, R5, to some extent, maybe a C70 or R5C, whatever it is. Those are great cameras. Really fantastic cameras. I'm like the Fujifilm H2S, but now I would say even like this LUMIX S5IIX, they're kind of changing the conversation, I think, about what is possible. I mean, this camera is $2,200, Bobby. Full frame.
So the crazy thing, Jay, to me, and I'm a Sony shooter. I shoot on the A7S III. I love that upgrade. I love that camera.
Great camera.
But, what I noticed, and yeah, this is no hate to them. And look, realistically, I'm probably not going to switch, Jay. I know that, they sent us some, which is awesome. I'm just so invested in Sony right now. But if I were not so heavily invested in a certain, if I were maybe not just starting, but like you said in our review video, if you were looking to make your first real big boy camera, right? I don't know how you can make an argument for something else right now. Like I think this is going to take the cake because the autofocus now is very, very good. I don't know if it's quite
No,
Sony,
I mean in my little testing, it's debatable though. It's not to the point where, and honestly, like for me and my use with autofocus, it's not a big problem. Like,
true, but I know that was one of the things that was holding it back, and now it's definitely
for sure, especially for gimbal use. I think with weddings are a type of filmmaking that it requires everything to be fast and reliable, and you don't have a lot of opportunities. Like I was doing this styled shoot the other day, which is really more my background is commercial, and you do a lot of commercial as well, right? So when you're doing commercial work, there's a reason why people are like, oh, I shoot on this RE or I shoot on this red, and I don't really care about. I just want it to look good, right? A beautiful image, blah blah blah, and we're doing it over and over and over again. And we're shooting. What's cool about this camera is it does work in that workflow because of the RAW codec. Really amazing. I wouldn't use that on a wedding though. It's succeeding in an area that I need it on a wedding to be run and gun quick. I need to know what I'm getting when I pop it on that gimbal. I can't be like, oh shoot, did it miss focus? And later in the day I'm looking at my footage and it's hunting as the bride's walking at me during the recessional. And so they fixed that, and so I think it kind of answered a bunch of questions. But when they released the X, so all the X really does, I'm sure you know this, Bobby, because you watch all the content I make on our channel with you. So.
That's right.
So all they really added was a sick different look because it looks amazing. ProRes RAW, and this was a surprise. They added B-RAW, which if you've never worked with B-RAW is an amazing codec. It's beautiful. And then they have SSD recording, the ability to like export to an SSD,
which is super nice.
Oh, really nice, amazing. And then some live streaming stuff where I can like live stream directly, which I think is funny because it's like at one point that would have been like a great feature for wedding filmmaking, but to me I'm kind of like, eh.
Oh man, I would have loved that like what 3 years ago. I've seen a drop off in live stream requests, but I think it is here to stay to some extent, and there are definitely people who have leaned into that. So it's one of those features where it's like, oh, that's cool. I can maybe use that here or there. But yeah, just really cool to see another big player in the game, let's say, right? Just another really option. Solid option that's ultimately just great for everybody.
Well, ultimately too, you're talking it's the price.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, look, I love the A7S III. The A7S III will beat this in some categories. This will beat the A7S III in some categories, but one of those categories is the A7S III is what? $1,200 to $1,500 more.
Yep. It truly is. So
really cool to see that. Do you have, Jay, any? Because one of the big things is that you can shoot RAW.
Yeah. What's the value of RAW? Is that probably the question?
Yeah, and that's a great question, and that's a more theoretical question, specific. If you're talking specifically about weddings. But what we do know is that RAW footage is very, very beautiful. Do you have?
I do have some RAW. I actually have some up here. We can actually grade it really quick and just take a quick.
Oh boy! And then we'll get into wedding films, guys. I promise.
We promise.
One of them will be secretly shot with the S5IIX.
All right, so we got some footage right here. I don't know. What do we want to see? Like, maybe...
I like the stuff. There's like stuff on the boat. There's stuff of them kissing. Like some of that stuff that just showed like all the highlight retention.
Yeah, so I can show you I'll show you some wide stuff, and I can definitely I think just kind of looking and thinking as a wedding filmmaker, what is the value of this crap? Because ultimately it is going to be tough to use if you're a wedding filmmaker. Like this is not maybe the workflow that everybody is going to take. But regardless, let's check it out. So we got some footage right here. I like stuff like this. So I'll just put a little grade on it really quick so you could just kind of get a sense. But this is straight out of camera right here, and you can already see there's really there's a lot of shades of blue right there, right, Bobby? Mm-hmm. And to me, this is always one of those things where when you ever see something and it looks one way to your eyes, and then you start like you compress it, Rec 709 that thing, and suddenly you're starting to be like, oh, there was a lot more color in that on the site.
Yeah, wait, there's a lot more difference. Yeah.
Like, and so like that's there's dynamic range, but then there's color depth, right? I'm just gonna do a quick pass. This is Dolce 1, which is one I like to use. We can even look. Damn it. Dolce 2, a little more. Maybe we even add like a little bit of saturation over here. But here's what's cool. So I'll open the raw, because say I was like, you know what? I'm just not really seeing. I want a little less or a little more. So I'm going to just knock this to 50 ISO. Like right off the bat. Like, maybe I'll put it back to 640, which is native, which we shot it on. Maybe I'm like, I want to warm this up or cool it down.
And for those who aren't, because Jay, we can only see the final screen, but you can literally just change this stuff.
Yeah, I'll put it on. I'll turn off the AV up too.
Like that's the advantage of RAW, is he's literally just changing the ISO that it was shot with.
Yes,
basically.
Essentially,
it's like going back in time, kind of.
Yeah, and I used to do. I've done this in a workflow with if you're used to shooting on B-RAW, anything like that, you kind of know.
Yeah, similar idea.
Or if you're used to if you're a photographer and you're accustomed to kind of that workflow. But over here, I could just, if I miss the white balance, maybe want to cool it down, warm it up.
Yeah. Oops, my white balance was off.
Like
I've now fixed it, and it's not correcting, right? You're not doing a grade or whatever on top of it. You're changing its raw information.
But even here, like this would be a pretty typical setting, right?
Yeah.
For a wedding.
Yeah.
And it would be very typical that you might make this mistake. Right? That's a little
highlights somewhere.
That's just
that's not too bad, but
yeah, but it's not as good as it could be. And that's the thing, is like when you're shooting raw, you're like, oh shoot, I made this mistake. I'm just gonna fix it.
I didn't.
And then you could see I'm adding that color back in, and it's just so much more beautiful. And as a wedding filmmaker, like that's what the name of the game, right? Make people look good. And we're in these kind of conditions a whole lot. So like, I don't know, I'll try a different quick little grade, add a little contrast, a little warmth, and this is where the image will fall apart a lot of times, as you know, Bobby.
Yeah.
Like what's cool about this is you want to get that light and airy look. You really can actually do it with.
Yeah. Whereas before it was just like,
you didn't have the highlight information, but it's not just the highlights are blowing out. It's the way that the highlights roll off. Right. So like what happens on a lot of people's cameras is that the highlights clip and then they have a hard roll off. They just dumping and they break. But a camera like this, because the color information is so deep, you're getting a nice gradient. And so the highlights are, as they say, they're rolling off. They're not clipping. Yeah. And so it's just really beautiful.
Hey, Crop Studio, we reset every week. It's not a running list that we work our way through. But we have made changes, if you weren't here in the beginning, that we're going to try to get through more films each week.
So guys,
if you are not a member, we will limit it to 2 minutes. If you are a member, we'll watch the full film. You can become a member by hitting the little join button down below next to subscribe. But yes, Crop Studio, go ahead. You want to submit that each week if we don't get to it.
So I'll tell you guys this. I cannot confirm or deny that we will have a discount code for our viewers from LUMIX.
And that is all we will say on that topic.
I cannot confirm or deny that in the next 24 hours we will have a discount code.
That you should keep your eyes on.
All I can say is if you're not following us on the Wedding Film School show on Instagram, if you're not connected with us in any way.
If you are not following us in our various channels, then we cannot confirm or deny if you will get a discount code.
So all I got to say is if it happens, I would say follow us on Instagram. We're probably not going to make a video on YouTube where we just say, here's our discount code. And then
we might.
That could be kind of weird. So I would say head over, follow us on Instagram. That's probably the best place. We are on TikTok as well. I don't understand TikTok, by the way. As a filmmaker.
Who wants to run our TikTok for us?
Yes, I would.
Baking applications.
Yes. So anyway, it's a great camera. I'm really, really psyched on it. In addition, obviously the RAW is like the curiosity, and that's the fun thing, and there's a use for it. But like ProRes HQ is a beautiful Kodak. I mean, I would probably just end up shooting on the H.265, and that is also very beautiful. Really amazing.
Yeah, it's not like you have to shoot RAW.
No. I mean, it's just what a cool styled shoot too. This was.
Yeah, excited. We got a whole behind the scenes on that styled shoot, so we'll get some cool stuff.
I'll give you. Do you guys want some behind the scenes of the behind the scenes that I could tell you about?
Sure, but go quick because we're a while into this stream. We haven't reviewed anything yet.
Oh, that's fine. We're gonna do 2 minutes. It'll be quick. So the behind the scenes of the behind the scenes is I ripped my pants.
And you got sunburn.
Oh, really badly sunburned. I ripped my pants totally in the back, and just my underwear is hanging out all day.
Good thing it was a styled shoot.
Yep, pretty much. That was the best, that I could do. And people kept pointing it out, like, oh, just so you know. I'm like, I know.
I'm fully aware. Thank you.
We're on an island, so I couldn't go back to my car and change my pants, and it was what it was. And you just go. You just go for it. But anyway.
You win some, you lose some.
Let's do some films, huh, Bobby?
Well, let's do it. All right. So coming up first,
remind people about the new format, how it's going to work.
So real quick, new format. If you are a member and you have submitted, we're going to review your full film or up to 5 minutes, just like
no members today, by the way. So we're just going to.
But we have no members today. But if you are not a member, then we're going to only review about 2 minutes of your film. So we're going to watch through up to roughly around 2 minutes. And then we're going to share, whether you're a member or not, we're going to share things we thought you did well, things that we thought, were good in the film, maybe what we think some of your strengths are. And then we're going to talk about things that we think you can improve upon, things that we think could use some work, and ideally going to be the things that, are going to have the most impact for your next
help you become rich
film. Yeah, and make $1 million. And then we're going to hard sell you on our mastermind. So can't wait.
Do you want to book more weddings, even though we only booked 4? Because we only do education? Yeah. Do you want to do that?
Because we're educators?
Yeah.
Just kidding. What do you think we book between us? I mean, you make up like 90% of that, probably 95.
I don't know. I'll probably end up booking like 160 this year, who knows? I mean,
I'll do my standard like 15 to 20.
I would say like at a high price point, I would say 15 to 20 is what you should be doing. And but yeah, no, definitely let's get into these films. We're going to do 2 minutes. So we're going to do let's unless someone says otherwise, I say we do the first 2 minutes and maybe really quickly the last like 20 seconds just to see the ending. Unless we decide otherwise. But let's do the first 2 minutes, Bobby. You ready? Okay. So I'm not sure.
Let's do it. Oh, again, so this is Nicholas Morley, NM Films.
All right. And this film was shot
super
where?
New to the wedding industry. It was a hot day. That's all I know.
Hot day. So we're looking for sweats. Are they sweating?
Yeah.
Here we go.
As they kiss, is there sweat dripping from their lips that Jason comes?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
right,
honestly,
wait, is this somebody else? EKP Studio?
I clicked on the top of the list on 511.
Oh.
Nick Morley. I think you were reading the wrong one.
No, I said Nick Morley, NM Films.
And that's the film, right? If you hover over the... Yeah, Amanda. And this is the film they sent us.
Okay, maybe they have a different studio name? Yeah, weird. I don't know.
Here we go.
Let's go. Nick Morley Films, a.k.a. EKP Studios. What is that?
A different
drive.
Pretty dope so far. Okay. I see what you're putting down. Wicked good.
This is just a teaser.
Yeah, just a teaser.
I've never been so sure about anything in my life except taking this step with you in becoming husband and wife.
Okay. Really, really good editing. Super good shooting. Couple questions, but let's do what we loved about it first, and then maybe some things we thought could be better. Go.
Yeah. Okay, couple things I liked. Again, yeah, really good shooting. I like the feel of most of the edit. Wait, we got EKP and Anim Films. Maybe they comboed on this one. I like the color on some of this stuff. Like this shot's really cool. Obviously beautiful location and whatnot. I think I like that you went out of the box a little bit, right? It's this like kind of fast pace, and I think that's harder to do. He says he's new to weddings, not to film, and I think that kind of shows, right? Like this has a lot of good shots, and it's willing to push outside of kind of what a wedding film
really
can
solid
be.
portrait work.
Yeah,
really good.
I'll let you go, and then I have two things that I would share.
So my opinion is, really the thing about creating these teasers is you really gotta give a lot of perspectives. So you got wide, you got tight, you have good motion, a lot of good use of foreground, really good job connecting with like the right moments where people are laughing, not the silly ones. Hiding, you know what this person does that a lot of new filmmakers don't do, minus those cars in the parking lot, is like they're really doing a good job. Like they're shooting it like, that's an ugly getting ready room, right?
Yeah.
But he's shooting these facial reactions in a dynamic way, hiding the ugliness. I think like just the trash and the natural things that they're not actually ugly. They're just not things you want to put.
You just don't want them in frame.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're not the thing you want to like capture in a 2-minute presentation of someone's day. And they did a great job getting usable content out of these kind of normal moments. This is a really, really good vision. I also think in terms of like I know this is an older couple. It seems to be second marriage. She's pregnant. There's a lot of like storytelling that I'm getting watching this, and I'm feeling a little connected to their story. And then, I feel I'd love to hear, and we can get into things we would do better, because I feel like this is a little debatable, which is the ending having this. I kind of love it.
I don't.
I liked it because
and that's why we are the best team, Jay.
I was watching this ending going, okay, as a teaser, it's telling me like, ooh, get ready for more of this emotion. And I like, whether you like that or not, I think the storytelling was very coherent.
Yeah. I think so. I'll take this opportunity to dive into things I don't like.
Yep.
So let's stick on that first. I liked it because I liked parts of it. I liked that it existed because the whole, what is this, 60 seconds, 45 seconds?
It's about, like it's I think it's a solid, it's a minute.
Okay.
It's so Instagram friendly.
40 seconds of it, right? I'm sitting there thinking, the only thing I would change about this is I would like a little bit of dialogue, right? Just a little bit of something that's not just music. And then he gives it to me, and so I like the idea of including it. I just don't like that it felt like a completely separate, like it felt like it was like, I don't know, what was that, 10 seconds, let's say?
Yeah, like a little vignette.
50 seconds of one film, 10 seconds of
Well, let me ask you this then, Bobby.
It didn't feel like meshed.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So let me ask you this. Would you feel the same way if there was a couple other moments included previously?
Like a couple other like down moments?
No, speaking.
Are you talking throughout the film?
Yeah, speaking or people cheering or like just more of the audio.
Yeah, I think I would be more into it then. The other thing I like in a teaser is to have that like, that like, I'm going to call it the down moment where the music settles and you have this heartfelt 10-second of words. I really love that somewhere in the like 20 to 40 second range, like in the middle. and then to ramp back up to end again. I think because it was like distinctly on the end, it felt like its own thing to me.
Yeah, I thought that was intentional. That's all I was saying. I was okay with that.
Yeah, it might have been. And I do like I get what you're saying where it's like, hey, this is what we're ending on. It's that hook. It's like, man, this is going somewhere else. There's a lot more to look forward to. And I get that.
So, what else? What are some other things you think that the
only other thing that I really didn't like about this is a lot of that, like the rotation in camera.
I was
shots.
into it.
They were like, yeah, I thought it was. I don't dislike that idea. Like, I don't dislike doing it. I've done it here and there. I just think it was too much rotation.
I would have to say, I would have to see the full film to really have an opinion on that. For a teaser, I don't care. I think it should just be crazy.
For a teaser, it's a lot more.
It should just be crazy. It should just make me stop in my tracks and watch it and show all the coolest stuff. So I was okay with it, but I can see your point. I would say the one thing that, first of all, I love this teaser. This to me is
I think it's really
amazing.
Solid.
Like, it looks beautiful, and they're working with a normal wedding. It's not like this celebrity wedding where it's like, of course it's good looking. I would say even these cars, right? I could barely see them because it's more about the light, right? Like, I'm looking at this and it's like, okay, yeah, I don't love seeing a parking lot, but it's like, to me, I'm barely even noticing the parking
lot's a little washed out. Yeah, it's small, like in a good way. Like, the light kind of bleeds over that. It doesn't stand out to me.
Yeah, I didn't even stick out. The one thing I did not like at all about this film is the bizarre branding at the beginning. I can't understand.
I don't understand it. Yeah.
Like, if that is the plan, that is not a good plan. Like, create something cohesive, and like, as someone who has multiple brands, I know how problematic it can be if people are confused about this. So I'd say figure that out. But other than that, I mean, if you're new to films, get ready, man. Australia, you're gonna have somebody who's they're good fonts. I mean, this is a good filmmaker.
Yeah.
So great job.
Love it. Love it.
Who do we got next?
Thank you for submitting. Up next, we have Courtney Lambert from Joel and Courtney Films. Do we have Courtney in here a couple times?
Yeah.
Multiple films?
She did. We'll maybe get to them. I'm just so you guys know what I'm doing today. I'm clearing the deck. I got a bunch of people, and I'm just going to go through. And we've done one of their films before. They're very, very, very good. So I'm excited about this.
Yeah. First time using Super 8 footage in a wedding. XT4 and XT3s. And then the Super 8, of course. And
that's a combo I'm very familiar with. Ready for it?
Let's do it.
All right. So as we said, we're going to do 2 minutes. Maybe we'll cut to the end just to see kind of where it ends up. And honestly, if you have any questions, maybe we want to say, oh, let's see what the portraits are like, or we'll see. But 2 minutes is all we're committing to here. So here we go. This filmmaker is cool.
Very cool.
I must thank Drew Arentz. Sending Cole to Miles was a godsend for us. Who would have thought? Meeting Emma in a Miles pub was going to change their lives forever.
Darn Australian people. They're so much cooler than American people.
Working in a mineral mine, but here we are, and he's found this gem in Emma. Emma, you are the love of my life.
Emma.
My best friend.
Emma.
I knew from the moment I first saw you that one day you'd become my wife. You always lift me up when I'm down and make me laugh when you know something isn't right. You're the most caring person. You see someone that is in need of help, you drop everything. You are also the most loving and caring mother to our Banks.
I'm getting a little lost in this film. Where are we?
Do you like it? You're Cole, I have loved you long before today. What I found in you is more than I could have ever imagined. I know this sounds cliche, but meeting you was never by chance. I fell in love with your genuine.
2 minutes. So here's what here's what I want to do. I just want to jump to some celebration stuff at the end and see if it kicks up before I give my full opinion, Bobby. Okay. See what the turn is like.
You may share your first married kiss.
Okay, okay. Oh. That's really great. And we'll end it. Ugh. That's a banger.
I really like that film. I don't have a whole lot for improvement, but I will say some things that I love. First, I loved this black and white. I mean, you have a lot of different looks going in this.
But it felt cohesive, right?
Stuff. Yeah, you have your black and white. You have your 8mm. I love the look of this black and white stuff. Yeah, I mean, I really like black and white to begin with, but the way and this shot right here, walking down the steps, I really love that shot.
I probably would have liked a little more grain on the black and white, personally.
That was one thing where it's like I really liked it.
It was so clean.
One of the things I liked is how clean it was, but I think it could have matched better with some grain.
Just a little more.
Just with the 8mm
just a touch.
Stuff. I like the inclusion of the 8mm stuff. And yeah, I don't like good story. Oh, I also like shots like this a lot. They might have all been water, but you have those kind of like abstract pattern shots, and I think.
Well, even the way that they chose to shoot, when they chose to sit still and when they chose to move, the Super 8 work was really excellent. Great color on the Super 8. It's tough to do to get. I mean, given the day was a little forgiving, but the exposure on the Super 8 was beautiful all day, which means they did really nice. And I got my Super 8 right here. This one is filled with mold in the lens, by the way.
Oh, R.I.P. I think it was just really like
beautiful.
The super, but like I'm trying to think. Like I think I see people who shoot Super 8 sometimes where it becomes like this cop out to lean on vintage so hard and not have any audio and like. Oh, it's shaky and it's overexposed and it's grainy and the colors are off. But
no, they shot it well. That's what I'm saying.
I know, and I'm saying like this was like shot well. It was included sparingly, so you kept the impact of those moments. Like this is how I think Super 8 should be incorporated.
Well, let's look at this. So this is a great. Well, I'll teach y'all something. So when you're looking at this, right? When you include another media. And actually, I'm doing a new podcast, if you are interested in me as a person, with Binge Heish, who's a photographer. And we are launching this new podcast. And we did an episode about including old cameras, vintage, old technologies. And in the idea of using it as a storytelling medium, not just as a gimmick, right? So what they do super well is when they switch to Super 8, they're almost changing vantage points. So you'll see,
and it's intentional.
Yeah, they're changing perspectives and they're telling a different part of the story. So right here, you'll see this bouquet toss. That is a classic cinematic kind of thing, right? It's like beautiful, some bokeh focus. When they get to the Super 8, they're using it to make it connected and down to earth, like you're there, and you'll see the motion.
Like you're sitting.
Yeah, like this feels like the Kennedys are getting married. Right. And so it's a different storytelling medium. And I would encourage you, if you're going to do any kind of gimmick, intentionality, but not just intentionality, because like make sure it's actually adding to your story. And they did a great job with that. Like this right here with the kid, that is freaking awesome. Like really amazing and beautiful color. I don't like the sprocket randomly. I wish they would just not include it. I liked
Well, I think that was my only like gripe would be like pick a lane, because sometimes you have the sprocket with a widescreen, sometimes you have it in a square, and sometimes you just have it filling the whole screen.
I liked it when it filled the whole screen most. I didn't mind it when it was in the middle. I thought that was a nice, like where it was faded edges. That was nice. I didn't like the sprocket. Get rid of the sprocket.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is a really amazing film, really beautiful. Again, our job is taking these people's personal moments and, this is just so good. And enhancing them and memorializing them. It's not necessarily all about the high-end luxury. And, you know, we love Ray Romans and all these beautiful films. If you were good enough, and your couple was, of course, beautiful like this, anyone could speak this voice. And it's, well, not anyone, but I'm saying they found a way to take this day and unlock it. And so that's what I love. So what could they do better? Tough for me. This, to me, I love slow-paced films like this. I like patient filmmaking. I like intentional storytelling. I like hipster, kind of cool. The music choices. The only thing I'd say,
music was great in this.
Maybe a little more energy at the end. That might not match the day. These couples seemed very refined.
That's the thing that I kind of have this gut feeling that tells me this was like, hey, let's have the wedding and let's have a nice dinner and mingle. And
it's kind of ideal to me. I don't have a ton that I would tell you. The only thing I'd say is the little things we said about presenting the Super 8 in a certain way. And I have maybe some minor critiques about the color grade. To me, it's a little too muted for my taste.
A little dull, but part of that is the day. I think it seemed like a cloudy, rainy day, and
maybe that's just my taste. Like I said,
kind of a muted day.
What do you guys think in the chat? What do you guys think about the film?
Yeah, you can let us know while we queue up the next
one. And I was gonna ask. Someone asked a while back. Mr. Artisan, the autofocus versus Sony. Go check out our original S5 video. Because we
so we have the S5IIX video that we dropped yesterday. We have this live stream that we're answering some questions if you've got them. But we have a video on the original S5 II where we went out to Tokyo and tested it with LUMIX, and we have like some head-to-head tests on focus for that.
Yeah, we just literally put it in a hallway and we shoot them.
Yeah. I will say though, also, Mr. Artisan, you are bringing up a wide range of Sony autofocus capabilities. The autofocus between the A7 III and the A7S II is pretty significant.
So I would compare it to the R4 full frame hybrid cameras. I would not compare it to the S3. That is a cinema camera. This is comparable to the R6 and the R4, which are they're all hybrid. They're designed for both. First, the R5 I think is more hybrid too. The A7S III is basically exclusively a filmmaking camera. You could probably do some movies, but anyway, it's very good though. It's very comparable. So I would, and you're saving $1,500.
Go check out that video. It's on our channel. That will help you. All right, next up we have Rui, who I probably maybe didn't say that right. Rui de Cruz from Rui de Cruz, LDA. I don't know what LDA means. Maybe that's like LLC, but somewhere else. Shot on 4 Sony A7S IIs. And it just says that they got a documentary. So I don't know what that means, but we will find out probably.
OG cameras. I had an A7S II. There was the camera that made me think.
I still use one.
Really?
Ceremonies.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like a C cam, D cam.
That was the camera that made me decide I didn't want to shoot Sony.
Really? Why?
I just didn't want to bother with the color compared to the other cameras.
Once they introduced the A7, what was it? The A7 III, where they changed the color science, I was just like, this is so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, it's better. But anyway, you can do a lot of amazing stuff with this camera. So it's
still a great camera.
It's no slouch.
Sometimes.
Just wasn't for me. Anyway, here we go.
What
Algumas pessoas têm o dom de nos fazer sonhar. Essas pessoas são os contadores de histórias.
I bet this is Portugal.
Histórias essas que nos remetem para a nossa infância, para momentos em que fomos felizes e que nos levam a sonhar com um futuro igualmente feliz. As histórias de amor acontecem todos os dias, em todos os lugares, das formas mais inusitadas, mas só as verdadeiras sobrevivem. Para além dos tempos, contra todas as vontades, e assim se tornam eternas. Rita e Rui são dois desses contadores de histórias que diariamente nos fazem sonhar e acreditar no mundo perfeito. Mas hoje estão aqui para contar, celebrar e eternizar a sua própria história de amor.
Que queria ficar e o meu corpo amanheceu. Lembrou-se que queria amar. Foi assim que aconteceu. Assim que aconteceu. Assim
That's
que
cool.
aconteceu.
Hey, Rui is in
Foi
chat.
assim.
Rui, is this Portugal or Brazil? Looks like Portugal.
Or
Foi
somewhere
numa
else.
estrada
Sounds like
de
Portugal.
verão que me apaixonei. E o teu rosto apareceu disposto a sorrir também. Contei-te os medos todos bem guardados debaixo do chão.
White balance.
Obrigado
Primeira vez que te
por tudo aquilo que és para mim.
Softbox.
amei.
Agora vamos ser felizes.
Foi assim que aconteceu. Eu viajei naquele olhar de tão certo que era meu, tão certo que queria ficar. E o meu corpo amanheceu. Lembrou-se que queria amar. Foi assim que aconteceu. Assim que aconteceu. Assim.
2 minutes. We're getting. I'll have it playing in the background.
That's a really good frame.
Yeah. Good. Let's. I'll have it playing in the background. Turn off the music. We can keep talking, so we can see the frames. All right. So this filmmaker, man, it's very interesting. There, you could see. I think there's some inexperience I'm seeing. Like I mentioned, a couple things. There's a lot of exposure issues, a lot of white balance issues, little editing problems, stylistic issues. All that being said, because we'll do what we love first, it's a talented cinematographer. They have their composition, the way they're working with the couple. I feel like they presented them in a beautiful way. Minus these are not very flattering, and we can talk about that. But I mean, you know, I felt like the emotion was coming through, and then there was a lot of frames like this. Where you're like, oh. That's cool. The frame when they're in front of that white wall, you know, the frame where you said, oh, this is a good frame, that silhouetted frame. Like in the middle of some of like the weaknesses is very, very strong frames.
Yeah, you know what I really feel. So I think one of the things I liked most is throughout there was some very good, framing. Like there were, like you said, there were issues here and there too, but there were some shots that just really excelled. And you're like, man, this is just like a really well thought out shot, really interesting, really well set up, whatever. And so what it felt like to me is one of those kind of filmmakers where when they have time to slow down and when they have time to have control of a moment, except for one that we'll get to, they can really excel and
they love filmmaking,
really good creative shots. I
can tell that they watch movies. They compose their stuff like a movie.
Like this too, where this feels really natural and raw
Beautiful.
and organic and really good, and I really like that. I think I think those are the things that I would say really excelled in this film.
Okay, so let's talk about like things like this right here. I think everything I'm seeing from this filmmaker is inexperience at weddings, like having your microphone just sitting right there on frame. You could have just attached it to the back. Nobody would have seen it. Like things like that. There's a couple
really small, pretty correctable.
Yeah, there's little things like they'll start a shot and then maybe he'll correct his shot in the edit, maybe missing that. This right here, beautiful frame.
Yep.
Not white balanced properly.
Yeah, exposure and white balance seems off.
So I think throughout the film, and then we'll talk about the portrait session or the interview as a separate little thing. I think throughout the film, the color is kind of all over the place. Like this is so muted. Like you really need, you need to bring some. I don't like zombie skin. on people. Like, this guy does not have his natural skin tone in the film, and it's not stylized or anything. It just looks poorly graded. But I would say almost entirely throughout the film, this filmmaker, and it could have been in the way that they put the grade on, by the way. I've seen people do that where they just slap a grade on and it turns all their whites blue, and they don't, and then they maybe shot it a little off and it exacerbates it. I would say really focus down on like realizing like, nope, like right here, this is a beautiful frame. It looks cold.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have a cold looking wedding day in beautiful Portugal. It should feel warm and beautiful. I mean, even the interviews, we'll talk about those. Let's just get into it. That's blue. Like,
these interviews to me feel like
local cable access.
Not with content. Yeah, not content, but yeah, it feels like that, or like news, or like it's like a true crime doc or something like that. I think this is my biggest gripe with the film. Like the other stuff, little inconsistencies.
Yeah, just work on it.
I think we've targeted them, and I think you can work on it, and you can but I think this is where I'm like, this kind of lost.
Jarring. This is jarring.
Yeah, I think it could be set up better, and I also think it could be incorporated better into the film.
Mm-hmm. So when you're doing an interview, especially with weddings, if you're integrating a light, you gotta obviously white balance it, but like, this is clearly not behind a softbox. You have to get soft light on someone. You can't do like a cable news interview. I mean, her skin is shining right here. Like, there's so much not correct about the way this interview is lit. This hair light, so yellow. Like, it's just very like either rush. And like, that's what people will do sometimes, Bobby, is I'm like, hey, this is a problem. They're like, I didn't have any time to do it. Okay, well, don't do it. Don't do something you don't have time to do well.
Yeah, I think I'm learning that lesson with a recent project too. It's like, well, I don't know. Yeah, should have been like, no, I need more time if we're gonna do this. Otherwise, we're not gonna do it. That's fine too. I just think, I think part of it too, like we've seen interviews, let's call it, right? That are done really, really well. And I think, Rui, if you want to see who is it, Max that does it really
Smiths.
well? Or
the Smiths from Max and Smith.
Max Smith and his wife.
They're on the podcast soon, by the way.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so that's like I think one of the issues that I have with this interview stuff, outside the technicalities of it, is like, it feels so, look, we brought up their issues that we would change with how you set it up, but it feels so polished compared to like the other things that feel emotional and raw and organic. And I think the Smiths do a really good job. I would look at them as a great example of how to incorporate interview and maybe how to light it or capture it.
Try to, like, if your style is all about, which it seems to be, it's all about putting people in a natural element. If that's what you love, try to get the interview to feel like that. Not like a commercial interview you would do for like a local company. You want it to feel like this frame,
there's a disconnect,
or this frame. You want it to have like a connection to the rest of the story. So really good film in a lot of ways. Like it sounds like I'm ripping on it. I'm really not, because I really think it's really good. But in the mistakes, they're pretty glaring, but very, very fixable. So just focus on that white balance and your exposure. Get some maybe a little better color. And honestly, it couldn't hurt to do a minor, maybe upgrade your cameras, at least one of them, so you can deal with these challenging lighting situations a little better.
Yeah, that actually is a good point. Like some of that skin tone that you're talking about, that's a classic A7S II. That's
it
like
has that green and
yeah. You have to work on it.
And your highlights are just kind of not beautiful.
Yeah.
Check this frame out.
Cinema, you are in the list, in the queue.
Look at this frame.
Oh, I like it.
Chef's kiss.
I hope they didn't light anything on fire. Looks like they have like a smoke bomb.
I would love for our content if these people were lit on fire. It'd be way better.
You're getting clipped to a short if we do that.
All right, let's rock and roll.
Yeah, so this is coming from Michael DeLuca Films, who we have had films of his on here pretty off and on. October day, the weather, venue, and couple was stunning. Great vibes all around. That's all we got.
Here we go. I'm excited for these great vibes.
So many good vibes.
TJ, my best friend, soulmate, my partner in life. You continuously prove that unconditional love does not just exist in a fairy tale. Through my best moments and ugliest, you have loved me and stood by my side. You are the most patient, caring, devoted partner, and you always give me the world.
Corey, I love that you choose to push through the uncomfortable, knowing the outcome will allow us to grow. I promise to support you through all the ups and downs. We will laugh, cry, and challenge one another, but I promise to always love you.
Corey, you are strong, kind, and compassionate, with a little dash of meticulous on the top. And it has been pleasures watching the two of you grow in love. Thank you for bringing so much joy to TJ and our life. I think I can speak for all of us, because anyone who knows TJ, if there isn't something being built, there will be in a few short minutes. He is not your kind of what-if guy. He's a let's do it. I believe that attitude got him to where he is today, and I cannot put into words how proud I am of these two beautiful humans who sit before you.
Have you ever heard this this band before?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's pretty. I've never heard them before. I think this is Chapters, right? It has to be.
I can look it up for you.
So
it is.
Do you guys, if you're watching the stream, do you guys want to know something?
It is All the Lights from By the Coast. I've used By the Coast before.
They need to pay Chapters royalties. I'm working on creating an AI generated chapter song right now. I'm feeding it a bunch of chapters, and then I'm going to try to spit it back for this project we're working on for Wedding
Feeding
Film
it
School.
chapters of chapters.
Chapters of chapters. All right, here we go.
That should be the name of the song.
Chapters. I generated some lyrics too. We're gonna even sing them. So it should be an interesting video. So stay tuned for that one. Here we go.
And the ramp up.
Let's see where it goes at the end. We're at 2 minutes. Okay. Beautiful. That is a great cake shot.
I have had the privilege to see you grow into the strong, beautiful, and independent woman you've become.
I will love you more and more as the days go on, and we'll be sure to let you know this every day.
Really good. I mean,
I like that ending a lot.
He's always, making beautiful work. So, okay, first of all, let's talk about I love the color. I love the color. There's a couple things.
I really love the color.
A couple things I don't love about the exposures, but the color, I like the vibe. There's just a ton of coolness to the look. Like, I think, especially in a local market, this would stand out. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important. I think the storytelling was excellent. I don't want to bite it all. So you say some things you loved
I think I really like the colors. I think both in your grade and then just like, of course it was complemented by, and this is not you, I get it, but like, I love the maroon suit, the color of the bouquet. It just really worked well in general. And then it worked really well with the grade that you have. I think, the storytelling throughout was really good. I love the ending, kind of ending on that like down note, that subtle, some of their vows or whatever that was. Because that wasn't at the ceremony. We didn't see. Did we see any ceremony, Jay? Might have been in the middle. We could have skipped it.
I was scanning over it. You'll see it. You'll see it in a little bit when it comes up to it. But
good shooting.
I'm okay with downplay. Like, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm a little bit okay with like only putting like 30 seconds of a ceremony in a wedding film.
I think
we do that a lot.
Whatever it demands, and maybe it doesn't demand that much, and that's totally fine. I was saying their vows, and then I was like, well, maybe it wasn't their vows because it was just them two. So I don't know.
Yeah,
that wasn't a critique. That was just
those flowers are awesome.
Yeah, those flowers are awesome.
What a great bouquet.
Yeah, I think I also really like your comment because I think it is really important. Going out of the box on some stuff like the smoke bombs and just like a little bit of a different like edit and stuff like that. Again, I think like you said, it's going to make you stand out in the local market, which I think is what this is. And I think this video will be really good for him.
I agree. I think it's some of his best work. Let's talk about what we don't like. All the overexposed shots of the bride. Don't like that.
Yep. I think my two things, the overexposure, and the only other thing that I would say is I liked that song a lot better right around where we paused and looked at what the song was. Right when it got upbeat, I liked the intro with the text and then a couple like establishing shots to the beat, but it just that 1, 2, 3, 4 over and over and over got repetitive.
I mean, it's only a 3-minute edit, and so I know that that's a little tricky. That's a pretty short film overall, and so it can be like having that whiplash moment. Here, let's see this. I'm predicting visually that the cut started. Let's see when the cut happened, or when the turn happened on the song. Probably around here.
It's you, Corey and Tia, for the rest of your sister and Mrs. McWilliams.
Yeah, I didn't know that they had a child.
May kiss your wife.
Yeah. Oh wait, I have one more thing to say.
So, my opinion about that is that they kind of didn't stick the landing in terms of the opportunity to give it some energy with that song. But anyway, moving on.
Okay, the one other thing I want to say, kind of like how you brought up the child, where we're like, oh, we think they maybe have a child, which, is totally fine, but I don't.
Yeah, you want to know. It's important to the day.
And another part, obviously a smaller one, but I was like, oh, we're in this like, I don't know, forest, whatever, this like barn, farmyard, really cool, whatever. And then it's like, wait, we're at a beach? I don't like, that was a disconnect for me. I was like, there's like 3 shots.
There's a beach in there? I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, dude, there was like straight up waves. I think it's a lake beach, but still like, they're like on the beach in like 3 shots. And then there's a shot of waves,
maybe a drone
like,
shot or
does not
something.
compute.
Like maybe would have helped place us a little better. So
yeah. Anyway,
great
like
film.
That's like a, that's not like a big thing, and I really like the look of a lot of this like reception stuff too.
Oh, I loved actually once he really dug into the energy and the way that they shot with the motion. Like I love when this is how I like to shoot parties, and I think they shot the parties awesome and edited it really well. And her nails are nice, by the way. So. Anyway, really good film.
All right, well, we're going to dive into another one, but while Jay gets that queued up, I'm going to remind you that we have changed the way that we are doing reviews here on the Wedding Film School Show.
Let us know if you like it, by the way.
Yeah. Well, this is the Wedding Film School Live, my bad. So what we're doing is we are taking as many submissions as we can, and we are reviewing around 2 minutes of your film, unless you're a member. And if you want to become a member, you can hit the join button down below. It costs you just $5 a month, and you're not locked into any time frame. But membership gets you some benefits. It gets you priority in getting your films reviewed if we have too many. But it also means that we will still do the same as we used to do for your film if you're a member, which is to review pretty much the entire film. We say up to 5 minutes, so if you're giving us a 15-minute film, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but we're going to watch a much larger chunk of your
We've been known to push it to 7.
We've been known to go past. So if you are a member, we appreciate you. It goes towards supporting this channel. It really goes, Jay, towards allowing us to continue to exist all of this stuff for free. We do these live streams every Thursday for free. We have our podcast, The Wedding Film School Show, on our other channel for free, and all audio streaming solutions. We do our behind the scenes videos, gear reviews, all that stuff for you guys. So it's a great way to support
JSB
the
Cinema
channel and get
says
some benefits.
Let's do this really quick. He says, I get the point of cutting a wedding film to capture the ceremony, or basically, isn't
Careful,
the point
JSB, you're next up.
Isn't the point of a wedding film to show the whole wedding? Here's my opinion on that. No. My opinion on a wedding film is that the point of a wedding film is it's bigger than the day. It's bigger than the ceremony. It's about showing their love and their relationship and who they are. And there's a lot of times you're working with a couple where the ceremony is such a small part of telling that story. So that's why I think you need to include it. Obviously, the good
I think
moments.
you have to include it because it's a wedding, but I think how much of a role it plays really depends on the day and the couple. Because there are a lot of weddings where that ceremony is 100% like they don't care.
10-minute ceremonies.
They're doing it because they have to.
Yeah.
And it's like a what's the word? Like a token or something. You know.
Well,
what I mean?
even like you do a Catholic wedding, right? It doesn't mean it's meaningless, by the way, but it's not good content. It's a guy that they've never met talking for 45 minutes.
Who sometimes gets their names wrong.
They're literally sometimes sitting with their back to you, and then they have a rule in the church that you can't go up there. If you don't know how to tell a story where you're showing who the couple is outside of just the content you're getting from that ceremony, you're going to have a pretty weak film. So I would say our area is very Catholic. We shoot a lot of Catholic ceremonies. Ceremonies are always included, especially the major moments, walking in, walking out, kissing, like all the things that are ceremonially important. But we're not just showing 3 minutes of a ceremony. And I think you don't have to. So anyway, that's that. So who's our next filmmaker?
With that said, we've got JSB Cinema, who is up next. Jordan. And Jordan says, great day, but hot. Film the ceremony in harsh outside sunlight at 1 p.m. And
That's great. That's great.
Let's do it. And then we've got one more after this for sure. I'm excited for it. I don't know anything about it, but I just thought the gear was.
Give me some frame rate information in the chat, please. Frame rate edited in, frame rate shot in.
Hit us.
This looks like 30-30.
Is this a 14-minute film?
Oh, we're skipping. So we'll watch the intro. It's a minute. What is going on with this?
Shot in 60, edited in 30.
Thinking back, I remember when I closed my eyes and I counted 10, playing hide.
Okay, so he says that's the intro. So what do you first look at letters?
We're still going, though.
Yeah, I don't want to watch it.
So this is definitely more on the.
We'll go over to the ceremony.
The side of like documentary style.
Yeah, it's very linear. It showed everyone
DK,
arriving.
you've got to submit at the form that's pinned to the top of the chat. Here it is again.
Oh, thank you, GK. Thank you so much.
But we appreciate that. Thank you.
So let's look at the ceremony because that was of importance to JSB. So it's nothing wrong with this. We just want to, for the interest of time, go. It's even fine to have a long film. I think there could be. I actually answer this question as well, JSB. Did they pay for this length film, or did you choose to make it this length?
Oh yeah, no, I have that information. I'll find it for you. Okay. I don't mind. I don't want to like not judge, but like I don't like having pre-thoughts based on these tags that are on the bottom. You know.
Yeah,
like,
I'm scanning it.
I'll decide what the intro is, and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually don't know because it's attached and it's on HubSpot and I can't log in. So
Yeah,
so
just answer in chat. Okay, so the film changed. Let's see that where the song changes.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So the song changes.
Isaiah, I cannot believe today is our wedding day. You are truly the love of my life.
Okay, we got letters.
I'll follow you into forever.
So my guess is he's gonna do every person walking down the aisle.
Never have to be alone.
Oh, okay.
I'll follow
There it is.
you into forever. I'll hold you close and never let you go.
So the ceremony, Bobby, is from 5 minutes to 8 minutes.
I think one of the things that we're going to get into with JSB, like just knowing the comment that he made too, is like, this is just such a different product.
I would just never make this product personally.
I wouldn't either, and that's a personal decision. But I know people who do.
Well, so we got this
like
right
this,
here.
Right?
Okay, let's see these interviews really quick. I do not like this song. I wish it didn't exist in the world. I wish it was not existent. Then we have these.
Nothing but happiness forever.
So happy for you guys. I wish you guys happiness.
I hope you enjoy the gift we got you.
What?
Sorry, dude.
All right, I feel like
We're good. I'm just gonna do let's do the ending and then
GK, I don't know what RRR movie is. If it's a wedding film, you got
RRR is sick. It's a sick movie. It's Indian.
What is it?
Okay. It's like an epic, like action
I know,
comedy.
I haven't seen it, but I know that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Actually.
Yeah, it's a good movie. You should watch it. Okay. So this is just my opinion about the film. I personally think this is very dated style of filmmaking. Some people do want it though. Like
if you can carve out a little section of your market and there's demand for this, like I'm not going to tell you to not do it because that's your business. And if you're making good money and
I think the issue here is like this is what people think they want. I would say in a storytelling, like it's very clunky and a little unsophisticated. So that being said, I would like to see like a 4-minute cut of this film. Like for me to really get a sense of you as a storyteller, because this is, I think I can say this with confidence. I got no sense of their personal style. Really, they just tried to do like they're having interviews. They're having it's just like a linear
to
thing.
me, yeah, it's like this is like a truncated documentary edit where you don't really take creative liberties in the edit to really tell their story.
There's really no storytelling, like really.
And sometimes that's the couple, right? But I feel like there's probably something you could have pulled. I would encourage you, I agree with Jay, cut a 3-minute film of this and
market
I don't know if that's something you do, but yeah, maybe try marketing that, because my guess is I think there are some people who lean into these longer edits and they charge a lot of money and that fulfills them. But my guess
do
is
13-minute edits, but they're
I don't, but
it's for only
but they're different
multi-day edits. Like
yeah.
It's 2 days of shooting, and there has to be a rehearsal dinner, and there's a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
One other thing let's talk about technical stuff. Let's do the technical stuff. So you go first.
Okay, so maybe not technical. I just have a few things that I want to bring up. First of all, I would never, ever, ever, ever interview guests with the fucking Zoom H4n or whatever this is, and hand it to them and incorporate that visually into a film. If you want to interview guests, that's your style, like 100%. That's you. It's not what I do, but I'm not like the end all be all. But get a more professional way to do that.
That's what I mean. You kind of bit one of mine off. You just can't. You can't include that.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was just like, oh, that's like a cringe moment for me. Like, yeah. The other thing that is maybe a little more general, like I'm talking about the intro here, what you labeled as the intro, or let's say the first minute and a half, whatever that was. I think that's really the only time, maybe not the only time, but that's where you lean into trying like a creative edit the most. But I feel like it was just full of things that are like on the edge of because like that's not a bad shot. These are some cool shots.
I thought it was gonna go totally different direction.
And like a little transition, a little like I actually really like these first couple of shots. That's really good emotion, right? And then boom, this text, cheesy in my opinion. The text that comes later, which is different, like get rid of that stuff or change it. And then the other thing is it just felt like there's a lot of shots, and I know this is a longer edit, but especially in the intro, if you want to make this long edit with a bunch of the ceremony and everybody entering the ceremony and everybody entering the reception, all that, this is the other text. Get rid of that.
What is
weird
that?
animation in the corner.
The star is spinning. The star is spinning. That's really tacky.
So you want to include all that stuff later, fine. But this intro is your hook, and there's so many shots that are so pointless in this. Like, I do not need to see. This is your intro. This is your creative hook. Show me the dress shot. Show me some venues. Show me. I really like those intro shots of the couple, right? Don't show me black and like color fading to black and white, fading to a 235-1 crop.
It's called editing.
Try to do everything.
Yeah.
And you need to dial it back and stick to like the principles, like the cornerstones of filmmaking, because you have good shots in here, and then you have a lot of random stuff. Like every groomsman getting off the bus, which is an ugly bus to begin with.
Well, like that girl with the cranberry juice.
Yeah, like making choices on what you show, showing your couple in the best light, showing the day in the best light, showing the best moments, and cutting the rest is what is
editing.
Good is what is editing. Yeah,
and you're just actually editing things out.
More of that rather than include everything, even if they want a longer edit. I still like, you want to make a 14-minute edit or 20-minute edit, whatever. There are things that you should not include, and I think you need to be pickier with that.
Yeah, this is what I'm going to say. There's like a couple quick technical things and then a philosophy thing. First of all, edit in 24. Don't edit in 30. This looks like YouTube content. Second of all, white balance, bad all day. Get your white balance, nail it. It is like the number one thing like that sets people. White balance and exposure. White balance and exposure. It looks so.
I think in your first couple, first handful of years, if you only worked on, well, I guess it'd be two things, let's call it. It would be nailing your white balance, nailing your exposure.
Like quickly,
everything
walk in a room.
Outside of that, yeah, like understand it, because everything outside of that, maybe not everything, but Jay, there's a lot of leniency for where you can say, well, it's art. Outside of just straight up missing your white balance and your exposure. Like that's pretty just like factual. Like you are blowing out your highlights and they look bad. But if
I would
you're like,
not show a bride, by the way,
look,
reading her thing with the eye things on.
Eyelashes or what? I didn't see it. Oh, patch. What is?
Those are just
like under her eyes.
Eye gels. Like.
Oh, I have another quick tip for you. I prefer, and I think most people do, if they're reading their letters, capture audio of them reading the letter they wrote.
Yes.
Because it threw me for a loop when the groom's voice said, what was it, Corey or something? He was like, Corey, or no, Isaiah. Isaiah, I can't wait to marry you. And I was like, wait, is her name Isaiah?
Yes. So the
sorry, keep going.
The storytelling thing I was going to say is, I think something you expressed in your critique of, aren't you supposed to show everything? This is what I'm going to tell you. No, like I mentioned before, you do not have to show everything. You have to show things that are important to them. You don't have to show them every single time those important things pop up. So let's talk about the people. You clearly were like, oh, these are the important people in their wedding party. So almost every sequence in the film, you showed every person involved. You don't need to tell a story that way. You can say, oh, I got this person getting off the bus. I got this person walking in the aisle. I got this person cheersing. Like, you don't need to show them every time. Like, if those people are really important and that's what's important to you, to show all the people in their wedding party, show them in different ways. Show them dancing. Show them in the portrait session. Show them. You don't need to show them 17 times walking down the aisle, walking off the bus, walking. It's like, and I think that bleeds into your overall storytelling approach, which is like, you're not giving yourself the room to make a beautiful film because you're latched down to these rules that you've created about showing every little thing ever. And I would say, you don't need to do that.
That's what a documentary edit is for. Like, that's what your ceremony edit is for. You want to see everybody walking down the aisle? Watch the whole freaking ceremony.
Give me some money, buy this linear event edit. I'm not going to put it in a highlight film. You don't need to, because you've already shown them in a bunch of other times. You don't need to show it the whole time. So that's a storytelling thing. It will make your films tighter, and it will make them more pointed to the actual point, because their relationship is the point of the film, not, remember the time you got off the bus? That was awesome. Like, you don't need to show that.
Remember when all of you got off the bus?
Remember? I don't remember because they only showed you getting off the bus. I don't even remember how I got in that building. Say that. Like, yeah.
The other thing too is, like, I think, it's tough because I think, like, this, like, it's not like this person doesn't know what they're doing at all, you know?
No.
And so I think even on the shooting side, like, thinking about, because you have these good shots, but then you have these shots that are just like blue coverage, whatever. I just think, like, think to yourself in every shot. This is on day of, right? Or practice before if you want. Think to yourself on every shot, why am I shooting this exact? Like, if you look at your camera, you look at the framing, the white balance, the exposure, whatever. Why am I doing this exact shot? Because you've shown that you can take control. You can get some interesting shots. You know what you're doing. But then a lot of this is just like coverage. And I think you're like walking the tightrope between that. And I think leaning into, in my opinion, the former rather than the latter.
Remember the time that door closed? I think that this is a filmmaker who thinks they're going to get in trouble if they don't include things, and you won't.
Nope. You're the professional.
So, honestly, though,
I hope we roasted you.
Yeah, we gave them what they asked for.
Specifically asked us to be as harsh as possible. So
I think this is honestly, these are small, like, they're big changes, but they will really enhance your filmmaking and exciting changes. Like, you can do it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. All right. So we've got
last
one more, which is good because I've actually got to go after this.
Me too. I got to pick my kid up.
This is coming from Jason Matthew Films. And I'm excited for this one, not because I've seen the film. I never see these, and I have no idea what it's like. But I'm excited because it's filmed on 2 red Komodos, a Canon C70, a Canon R6, and a Canon 5D Mark IV.
I'm not going to be nice to this film. This is going to get my full wrath.
All right.
Here we go.
Hey guys. Sorry it's raining, but I don't care. I'm marrying the love of my life, so handle it, okay? Don't care if you don't like it. Bear with me on this, okay? Well, you and I both know how indecisive I can be at times. But if there is one decision in my life that I know is right, it's the one to spend the rest of my life with you.
You have given me everything I could ask for in a person. You have been by my side through every second of every day. Through the absolute terrible times to some of our happiest moments.
Let's skip forward a little, so we're only doing 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to see more of this.
Get, like, out of the ceremony. Yeah, like around here. Thank you.
It's me.
Let's see if there's any energy later, because it looks like some cool shots later.
Unique spirit.
Let's just watch from to the end here.
From this
Just
day
what do we have,
forward,
like
you
40
shall not
seconds?
walk alone.
Oh wait, maybe we have more. Sorry.
My arms will be your shelter. My heart will be your home.
I want to see that.
I want to see the turn.
Yeah. Jay, that's 3 weddings today that had smoke included.
Man, we almost never shoot a wedding with smoke. Out of
I
200,
have never shot a wedding with smoke.
I've done like I think a couple that the studio has done. I don't think I've personally been at them. Okay, let's get some. I just want to see where the
of you. You're officially.
All right, I've seen enough.
Let's do it.
All right. So
You want me to go first? You want to go first?
you go first, because I'm just gonna do everything in one take.
Okay, I'll do the same. Things I like. Look, I think that there are some good shots throughout this. I think there are. We didn't watch the whole film, so I could see myself going back on this if we watched the whole thing. But I kind of liked, similar to I think the first film maybe that we watched today. I kind of liked the slower pace a little bit, but I think the shots should have matched that better with just intentionality in your framing and everything. And then I also like, it's that first, let's call it the creative pocket in the first 30 seconds or something like that, right? We start with her addressing everybody, and then we go to this like fade, and then it's when you hear like some sound effects and some whooshes and a couple quick cuts. I like the idea of that. I don't like the execution. I think it fit well there, and I don't think it was done well, is what I would say. Yeah, those are the things I liked about it. Things that I'm going to let Jay say more on probably all of this stuff, but things that I don't like, to me, maybe you have a commercial background, you have that gear for that reason, but this just screams to me somebody who thinks that the gear makes the film, and I think it doesn't, and I think that shows here. I think your white balance is all over the place. Your skin tones occasionally look okay, but oftentimes look like zombies. And then I think, again, we're seeing it here too, like those quick cut zoom ins, whatever you're doing there, like these creative things that you're trying out, which is fine. I like trying out of the box. I'm all for that. I don't think they landed though. I think they weren't subtle enough, right? We get this like the first one is the one that we only saw, I think. We get this like ear ringing, like you just got like hit in the head with a baseball bat and you're waking up from like a freaking coma or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that works there. So stuff like that is my gripes with this. I think it shows a lot of potential for sure, but I think it can be tweaked, and I think I would never ever shoot on a red Komodo.
Well, here's the deal. I've shot a wedding on an Ursa, right?
Yeah.
And just to try it, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would play around with it, I guess. But I don't know. I can't imagine myself choosing that.
But I would say, you ever hear the saying, bringing a knife to a gunfight?
Yeah.
I think you brought a gun to a knife fight.
bringing a cinema rig to a wedding gig.
I don't think that gear added a single thing.
I don't think it helped you at all. I think it hurt
this.
You.
Yes. I mean, I know enough about that cinema gear. It's not good in low light. It's not good. There's a lot of issues with that gear. It's designed for a controlled environment. The first frame of this film literally screams, okay, I'm trying not to criticize these people, Bobby, because I have no problem with their wedding day or who they are as people. These are not red Komodo people. This is a coffee cup on folding chairs.
Yeah.
The first frame, I was like, why are these folding chairs here? Like, I'm expecting.
And like, look, your wedding should be whatever you want it to be. That's not what we're saying here.
No, I'm saying like, you didn't shoot the wedding that was there, and I really think you should focus more on your storytelling and not focus on your gear. And from a business standpoint, shooting what you're shooting, the rig you're shooting is a money loss every time. The amount of storage you're going to have to spend, the time you're going to spend in post, and it's like there's just basic storytelling and white balance things that are not actually done well. So you're shooting on this really, really, really challenging setup. You're not like, oh, I've mastered this. I've mastered storytelling. I got these super high-end weddings. Like, there are weddings where you show up with good stuff because you want to impress the couple. You want to impress the wedding planner. This is not that wedding. There's no benefit to it. And I would say, like, I'm not going to critique a lot of this because it's shot basically fine, except for the white balances. And I think the editing is pretty weak. I think it didn't, like, the song is just totally wrong.
Yeah, there's a bunch of songs.
These people are just, most of them. Like I said, I'm not critical of them. I shoot these weddings. I like working with these types of couples. They're normal folks. This is not
but you just need to like know them better.
It's not the Alps.
We as filmmakers, I think a lot of times we see this in a couple things. So I guess I would say first, I've seen, what this says to me, Jay, is, and I saw this, when I got out of college, out of film school, and I was doing weddings. I've been doing them for a handful of years already, and a few people that I went to school with tried their hands at weddings, and just different connections I had in like the film like set type business and stuff like that, right? Who tried their hands at weddings, and occasionally weddings that I shot, because once upon a time I shot photos, and I would shoot photo for a wedding every now and then, and the guy shooting video would be like, some guy who was like a DP or trying to make it on set, and they'd show up. They're showing up for set, and it's just not what this is, and that's what the gear screams to me. And then I think we get on the topic, like you said, where it's like, this is not what these people are. I think we as filmmakers, and it's not just this filmmaker, there's plenty where I see this, and we've critiqued people about this before. They're forcing people into this box that they create. And like, we need to listen to our couples. Like, our job is to tell our couple's story. Mm-hmm. And I think you have some control over that, in which way you want it to go, but to completely take them out of who they are and put them in your like, I'm going to make this epic. Like, I see it a lot, and maybe not this one, but I see it a lot where people are like, I need this epic soundtrack. And it's like, this wasn't an epic wedding. Like, it doesn't fit that. And this is kind of along those lines, I would say.
Well, I would say the success or failure is measured based on how well you tell the couple's story, and every element is part of that. And I think,
honestly, success or failure is based on if you're making good money doing this, then who cares what we think. But
yes, I would say that.
I will say,
but as a storyteller, I would say,
but I have thoughts on the film.
You'll make better money though if a couple can see themselves in your film.
For sure.
Next couple, and a couple, this couple might love this. They might be like, oh, it's so cool. Like, oh, look at, we're like in a movie. But they would have also loved a film that was more honest and did a better job.
And that more honest film would be more marketable for you, I think.
And it's just better storytelling. And the goal is to always get better and always tell a better story and always catch the vibe. And I think this misses the vibe. So that's what I would say. I think you have some talent, but I would think really think about what you're trying to do. And a red Komodo is not it.
I think just like know what you're doing, which is a wedding.
Yep.
And then adjust accordingly.
I mean, you could do a red wedding. You could, but you better watch the thing and be like, whoa, that's super cinematic. That was not super cinematic. So anyway.
All right. Well, everybody, I hope that you liked this new format. We are here every single week on Thursdays. Please leave a like on your way out. We'd appreciate that. Consider becoming a member if you want more of your film reviewed and priority in getting your films reviewed. Check us out on our other channel, the Wedding Film School Show, where we semi-recently passed 10,000 subscribers there. We're still trying to get over, like, man, I want to break 200 on this channel, Jay. That's what I
want to break 200. We're kind of...
I want to break 200 million.
If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our videos. We really want to, like, keep doing this. We don't want to have to be selling tons of courses or selling things. We want to do free education for people, and it helps us a lot.
Yep. We'll see you guys next week. Check out some other stuff. Leave some comments. We'll see you in the comments. Thank you for being here, being in chat. And 1 week from today, see you there.
See you guys next week. Bye. See you, Bobby.